It's your Monday upgrade, because The View is live. Agent Trump? The FBI probe into whether the president was secretly working with Russia. Could it uncover the biggest presidential scandal in history? Or prove that it's all a witch hunt? And
today is an act of resistance.
In their first live interview, Women's March leaders Tamika Mallory and Bob Bland take on the controversies that threaten to stop this year's march in its tracks. And a brand new View Your Deal Oprah edition. Let's fire up Hot Topics with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
So apparently, we're not the only ones concerned with the guy and the White House's relationship with Russia. According to the New York Times, the FBI was so worried that he could be working as some kind of agent for them that they opened up an investigation into it. He even physically took the translator's notes of his talk with Putin in Hamburg, which is why I think my new nickname for him might be the Hamburglar. You gotta have a little levity in there, just a little.
I got one too. Shall I tell you mine?
Sure.
Benedict Donald.
So what did you think when you first heard just that this was going on?
I thought, duh.
Really? I was surprised that there was a counterintelligence investigation going on, because I think we all knew that there was an investigation going on into collusion and an investigation going on into obstruction. But the fact that the FBI opened up a counterintelligence investigation into the President of the United States.
What that means.
A counterintelligence investigation is basically an investigation by the FBI to determine whether or not the acting, sitting President of the United States is a foreign spy for a foreign power. That floored me. In fact, I was driving into work this morning with my mom, and my mom said, she's never floored about anything, and she said, is it possible that the sitting United States president is a Russian spy? And I just said, I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing, though. I don't think anyone has the answers right now.
Yeah.
I was just as shocked by it. And frankly, of all the things we've talked about at this table, this is by far, I don't even have a word for it, but the craziest, because we're now in this place where you either are going to have a President Trump who wins another 4 years, or he gets ousted from office for potentially, or for being an agent for the Russians. Like, we're just in this really strange place as a country. And look, full disclosure, I'm sitting here with my dad's the ambassador to Russia. I think he would be more shocked than anybody if this were true. So there's still a lot that we don't know.
He might not know, though. I mean, your father is an ambassador. This is the covert operations. He may not know what's going on.
Is Trump capable, though, of covert operations?
Well,
I just don't. I don't know.
That's funny.
That is a good. Oh.
I've never pressed it before.
That is a good point. I mean, he can barely run our country, let alone. It's hard for me to think that he'd be like this brilliant espionage spy. But I put nothing off the table anymore in 2019, because I think we're on Earth 2, and there's some parallel universe of Earth 1 where Jeb Bush is president and I'm happy and it's different. But I will say the New York Times reported that there's no evidence that it has emerged publicly that Mr. Trump was secretly in contact with or took direction from Russian government officials. The problem with the political optics of this administration is when you go to Helsinki and you look like you're palling around with one of the worst dictators of my generation.
And it's
this
in
is
secret,
how people,
and it's in secret.
Yes, but this is how people could believe it. Like Occam's razor, the simplest solution is almost always the likely one.
But what about the fact that, Meghan, that he he's pulling out of Syria. That helps the Russians.
Yeah.
They changed the whole policy at
I think
at
that's
the Republican convention. Well, maybe you do, but it helps Assad, doesn't it?
But
yes, it does,
Makes
in the benefit of the extermination of the West, which is what Putin's number one issue is by far.
And also at the Republican convention, they changed the platform so that they now they basically they're helping the Russians when they invaded the Ukraine. We are now not helping the Ukrainians. We're stopped selling them weaponry to fight the Russians.
I just want to say one thing, because
that sounds odd.
You and I are really, and I think most women, we're all simpatico on this. If you're offended by that, you should be offended by Tulsi Gabbard running for president. She's the mouthpiece for Bashar al-Assad. She went and met with him and came back and spewed his propaganda. It is embarrassing for the Democratic Party at the same time. Us as Americans should be on the same page about murderous dictators.
Okay, but she's a congresswoman, and we're talking about the president of the United States.
But I'm just saying, you should be equally offended by her.
I probably would be.
I'm offended by everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just offended. But you know who reacted to the report when he emerged from the White House before we went on air this morning. And this is what he said.
I never worked for Russia. And you know that answer better than anybody. I never worked for Russia. Not only did I never work for Russia, I think it's a disgrace that you even asked that question, because it's a whole big fat hoax. It's just a hoax.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, we're still.
Oh my goodness.
We're still trying to
Sorry,
process.
we are French on Carl's here.
All the implications.
Welcome, John.
Hey, good to be here.
So, I know you see John Carlson.
Yes.
Okay, so we called him because we want some help understanding what the hell's going on. He is the ABC. Okay.
The chief White House
I was
correspondent.
just about to. Yeah, everybody can do my job. Why am I here? John, can you just break all this Russia down? Explain to us what exactly is going on.
Well, first of all, this is an extraordinary story in the New York Times. This was the FBI in the days after Comey was fired. The FBI, led by then acting director Andrew McCabe, they'd opened a counterintelligence investigation into whether or not the president, either wittingly or unwittingly, was effectively an agent of the Russian government. It's an amazing story. There are a couple of important things to say about it. One, it reflects the deep distrust, total breakdown in trust, I would say, between the President of the United States and the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Right.
That they would actually be investigating the President's actions, not during the campaign, not the question of collusion, but whether or not he was acting as President, as an agent of the Russian Federation. Yeah. That said, there's another very important thing, which is eventually we got the appointment of the special counsel, Robert Mueller,
right.
And there has been zero indication that has been part of the Mueller investigation. There was enough evidence to then make that part of the Russia investigation. So it says a lot about how suspicious the president's behavior was, his meeting with the Russians, with the Russian ambassador, the Russian foreign minister in the Oval Office. But it also says a lot about the way the FBI leadership at that time, all of whom have been or are gone, viewed the president of the United States.
Right.
So, well, let's talk about the meeting in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Because that's glaring. I mean, he basically took Putin's, the Russian side against the CIA and the FBI, remember that?
Yeah.
And nobody knew what went on there except for the interpreter, and then he took the notes away from the interpreter. So what do we make of all that? I mean, are we ever going to get those notes?
Well, that was the meeting in Hamburg. That was a different meeting with Putin. But the president
I'm sorry.
does.
Wait, in Helsinki, I saw that. Nobody was there except the two of
exactly.
them.
And there's some important context. This president does something that I have never heard of any other president do. He meets with foreign leaders one-on-one with translators.
Right.
So we know he's done it with Putin several times.
With no national advisor.
With no national security advisor, no Secretary of State, nobody else from his team.
Right.
But it's important to point out that that's a total break with precedent, and there's reasons why you don't do that. First of all, the president's doesn't know everything in the world about whatever country, no matter how brilliant the president is. But secondly, if you have to follow up on anything coming out of those meetings, you need your national security apparatus to do that. Right. But it's also important to point out he didn't just do it with Putin. He met one-on-one with several other leaders. He met one-on-one with Kim Jong-un for an hour and a half in Singapore. He met one-on-one with President Xi of China at Mar-a-Lago. He takes phone calls from foreign leaders in the residence, just him, which again, normally you have your whole team there.
Right.
So, you know, it's important context. It's not just the way he behaves with Putin.
Stay, please.
Okay.
Yes.
We have more to talk about. We'll be right back. It is Jonathan Karl.
Still ahead, an Oprah edition of View Your Deal. And the co-presidents of the Women's March take on the raging controversies casting a shadow on this year's march.
Hello. We are back with ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Jonathan Karl. I got the whole thing in this time.
So glad we have you here for this. So the missing link for me is, how do you go from hearing people on TV saying, oh, we've known he's been an agent the whole time, to literally the FBI then launching an investigation into a sitting president, looking into whether or not he's an agent for the Russians? How much evidence do you need for that? And then where does Mueller fit into all of this?
Well, this is the FBI director, the acting FBI director at the time, Andrew McCabe. And I think what it shows, and we've seen through some of the text messages of some of the others involved in this decision, including Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, these were people that deeply detested Donald Trump. And now they're running the FBI, and they're able to open this counterintelligence investigation. And they, you know, they believe that they had solid reason. The president was acting in a way.
Shouldn't that make us all skeptical then of
Well,
this?
I think that there are reasons to be skeptical of this, but I think the biggest one is what happened afterwards. And there is no indication that Robert Mueller picked up any of this. And here's a very important point. We are now just, I believe, weeks away from getting a final report from Robert Mueller. And there is so much anticipation, so much speculation about what he is going to show. He has been looking into, you know, this whole range of issues. And I am led to believe by people who have interacted with the special counsel that we should be prepared for him to release a report that is anticlimactic. That on the, you know, he's already done a lot. He's already gotten more than 30 indictments. The president's inner circle, his campaign chairman, convicted, his national security advisor, indicted, his personal lawyer. You know, so much has already been there. But on the central question of did Donald Trump or anybody in his campaign coordinate or collude with the Russians in their effort to meddle in the 2016 campaign, we have seen zero evidence of that.
What about Manafort?
No, well, we look. Manafort has been indicted because of his personal corruption, what he has done, and we know there was this revelation that he gave polling data, but there's no indication that Manafort either knew of or helped the Russians in their efforts to hack into the DNC emails, John Podesta's emails, or that massive internet campaign to undermine basically the public discourse in this country.
But just to be clear, you're saying there's no indication, but Mueller has kept this investigation very close to the vest. So there may be no indication right now, but we don't really know because he's been so very good at that. But to keep the conversation moving, my question is, in terms of what would constitute spying, that's pretty broad,
right?
Isn't it? It could be witting or unwitting.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and that's what, and the amazing part of that, of this revelation in the New York Times on this investigation opened by Andrew McCabe, is that they actually were looking into the possibility that he was doing it wittingly, that he knew that he was effectively working on behalf of Vladimir Putin. But again, we've seen no indication that that has gone further. But the president's own behavior has given, I mean, so how often do you hear people say, you know, how do you explain why he's never been able to criticize Vladimir Putin?
He flatters
how do you
him.
explain that on multiple occasions he has said sometimes that he accepts the intelligence community's finding on the meddling, but he's also said that Putin's been very firm, very strong in his denials. How do you explain all this? You know, the other thing is you have to separate the policy from his rhetoric and his personal behavior. And the policy has been mixed. I mean, I heard you pointing out, that this withdrawal from Syria plays right into Russian hands. But, he's also the airstrikes on Syria twice. He did that. And he actually did go forward with, the weapons to Ukraine. But
so,
yes.
we still don't know what we don't know.
We don't know what we don't know. I think but we know a lot. Putin, I mean, Mueller has effectively been writing his report in real time with all these indictments.
And the guy, this guy Barr says
but
he's
we don't
going
have
to...
any more information or any more time.
Oh.
We need more time.
We always need more time. We need just a day with you.
Yeah.
I'll go
Breaking
back.
stuff
once a week.
down.
I love coming here.
Well, thank you. Come back often. We'll be right back without Jonathan Gold. Welcome back. Because we can leave no stone unturned, we've got to tell you this. Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch, made it 11 days on the reality competition at the White House. And now he's moving into Big Brother house with co-stars including Kato Kaelin, Real Housewife of Atlanta Kandi Burruss, and actor Joey Lawrence.
Ooh, I like him.
Surprise? Or not a surprise?
No.
Anybody surprised?
Well, I don't know half those names, and maybe that's the problem.
I know all of them because I watch
Well, so that's Lindsay Lohan's mom at the top.
Right, but
I don't understand because he apparently he co-founded. He's a co-managing partner at Skybridge Capital. And do you know that he has a net worth of an estimated $200 million?
$200 million, yeah.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, he's extremely wealthy.
Just because you have
$200
money
million.
does not mean you have a high profile.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And
if you have
television,
$200 million.
television gives you a high profile.
But you could buy a farm. You could
Why
like.
would he want to buy a
You
farm?
could like.
Why would he want? You just want to talk about your damn chicken. So
I guess in my head, if I had $200 million, I would not be on Big Brother.
Like,
well,
I would,
but you don't
have
know.
a farm or
you don't know.
a ranch.
I sure as hell wouldn't be on Celebrity Big Brother if I had $200 million.
Well, I think a lot of people say what they wouldn't do, but you don't know. If you don't have access to, but you're also not a media.
Prostitute.
What's the
Can
media
say-
grabber?
My first thought on this.
money.
Is this the ghost of Christmas future for White House people? Is it Celebrity Big Brother?
Yeah.
Is this where you end up?
Omarosa went on last season. If you remember Omarosa, then she opened up on the show. By the way, I haven't watched
she
the show
doesn't have $200 million.
But you have to talk.
No.
Like, he's going to have to talk about his
Entertain
time
us.
in the White House and talk about President Trump. And you talked about raising a profile, and that's why people do it. It's not always about the money. But what about reputation? Because I
You asking the wrong person.
Well,
I don't understand it. I've never watched it. I don't really care about it. But it seems very odd, but not really, when someone who says they want to have a different type of respect handed to them changes their mind and goes on Big Brother. Now, maybe Big Brother has a great profile for television. I don't like Dance with the Stars.
The Mooches need to be on television, and you could see by his personality.
Right.
He's got a big ego.
Right.
You know, it's bigger than his need for the money. Although he's not
got the
giving
money.
that up.
Yeah.
He's got the money. He needs to have a profile. He needs his fudge out there.
And
His
we
what?
need
His
our
fudge, his
fudges
fudge.
to be there. And in case you're not sure what a fudge is, as soon as we go, you'll see my fudge no more.
That's it.
We'll be right back. So welcome back. Apparently the Kardashian-Jenner family is being accused of high-maintenance behavior. Kim's husband, Kanye, has dropped out of Coachella because they wouldn't build a giant dome for him to perform in. And social media turned on Kendall Jenner, calling herself low maintenance because she only flies in private jets. That's not actually high maintenance. High maintenance is when you are asking other people to pay for things. You can be...
Yeah, that's right.
That's the difference between high... If she's paying for her own jet, you can't be mad at her. She can afford it, she can do it. So she's not high maintenance. Kanye asking them to pay for a dome for him to perform in could be considered high maintenance.
Maybe the Mexicans will pay for it.
But I think you're right. It's an attitude thing. I think it comes down to, when I watch Kardashians, actually Kendall comes across the least high maintenance of everyone in that family. But it's, one, what you demand and your attitude, but also I think it's who you surround yourself with. And if you have yes men and yes women that let you get away with everything and help promote that, they never know when they're being high. They think they deserve it. They think they're better than other people.
If they're paying for it, they can have whatever they want. They can't ask someone else to pay for it. Much like the wall. No, okay. Okay. You know, like you get like when you go to perform, you get a writer, you know, and that's all the stuff you expect the venue that you're working in to have for you. That's why you hear people say, oh, and some people want little green M&Ms.
Yeah.
You know what's in my rider? Water.
Yeah.
Water.
I just want water.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing when you get to be a certain age you want when you get off stage. Because you're so dry. You know, you dried out, your mouth is dry, your whole body's dry.
I get the saddest part about this story for me was I got invited to go to Coachella over the weekend, and I've been having this argument about whether I'm too old to go to Coachella. And I was like, if Kanye were performing, it's less interesting to me because I don't like Kanye anymore. Everybody knows that. But if they get a better musical guest in, so please let me know if 34 is too old to go to Coachella.
No. 62 goes, 70 goes.
I don't know. I feel like it's for like young.
Where is he? Where is
it? In Coachella.
It's in California.
It's a beautiful area.
We'll tell you more. We'll be right back.
Coachella is in California.
Is the movement to unify women in danger of being torn apart? In their first live interview, Women's March leaders Tamika Mallory and Bob Bland take on the controversy surrounding this year's march. Next.
For the past 2 years, the Women's March has been a rallying cry answered by over 5 million women worldwide. I walked the streets to march here in New York, but this year some ugly accusations and controversies threaten to overshadow this amazing movement. So we're here, here to tell us what they're going to do to make things right. Please welcome the co-presidents of the Women's March, Tamika Mallory and Bob Bland. Yes, Bob Bland. So the first Women's March took place the day after the new guy was inaugurated on January 21st. And it became one of the largest protests in history, and it happened all over the country. You organized D.C. What was your response when you saw how people were coming out?
Well, I mean, it was incredible. You know, obviously the turnout and also just all of the emotion that went into the planning. We actually organized not just DC, nationally and internationally. So there was a lot of work that went into that day, and obviously the culmination of it was great. But many of us, particularly the women of color who stepped in to be leaders, we were called to come and be leaders of the march to ensure that the march was diverse. We weren't really shocked that people were so angry and had this such of an intense feeling. We knew that this country was in trouble, and that it was only before a moment in history that would come that we would all need to be called to the table to address it.
And I just, as a new activist, looking at 1.2 million women and allies just in DC alone, I saw that these are the leaders we've been waiting for. And we always wanted to see these women become the face of our leadership and the face of the nation. And I think that's what we saw in the midterm elections, where we saw a historical outpouring of thousands of women running for office. And in the Congress alone, over 100 coming into Congress for the first time.
Well, there has been some controversy surrounding the Women's March organization. And Tamika, you came under some fire for your relationship with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Now, he's known for being anti-Semitic, for being homophobic, but you do attend his events, and you posted, I believe, a photo together calling him the GOAT, which means the greatest of all time. And you are running an organization that says it fights bigotry. Do you understand why your association with him is quite problematic?
No, I think it's important to put my attendance, my presence at Savior's Day, which is the highest holy day for the Nation of Islam, in proper context.
Okay.
You know, as a leader, as a black leader in a country that is still dealing with some very serious unresolved issues as it relates to the black experience in this country, I go into a lot of difficult spaces. I wrote a piece immediately following the beginning of this controversy, talking about wherever my people are, that's where I must also be. So I also go into prisons where there are people who have been convicted of heinous acts. And I am trying to help people to move from wherever they are today and build that unity to bring them to a place where we live in a more fair and equitable society. And I think that that work is not easy for everyone to understand, but it's certainly work that I'm committed to. And everywhere that I go is difficult. The Women's March was very difficult. I met with a lot of women who did not even understand why race was important to be a part of the conversation as it relates to women's rights issues. And there was a lot of, offensive rhetoric that I heard. And, and just because you go into a space with someone does not mean that you agree with everything that they say.
But let me push back a little bit. Why call him the greatest of all time?
I didn't call him the greatest of all time because of his rhetoric. I called him the greatest of all time because of what he's done in black communities. And I think that,
Well, let me just interject really quickly. I would never be comfortable supporting someone who called, I'm not anti-Semite and I'm anti-termite. It's the wicked Jews, the false Jews that are promoting lesbianism, homosexuality. I actually spoke with the journalist from Tablet Magazine who released an investigation report on your organization. And in part, they alleged that there is a lot of anti-Semitism surrounding this march. Specifically, the report alleged that you, Tamika, and co-founder Carmen Perez asserted that, quote, Jewish people had a history of exploiting black people and were proven to be leaders of the American slave trade. Now, a lot of people, by a lot of people I include me in this, think that you're using your organization as anti-Semitism masked in activism and that you're using identity politics to shield yourself from critiques. You're talking about all women being invited to that march. I'm pro-life. We were not invited. We were not allowed at that march right there. I'm a conservative woman. I also represent, if you're talking about women, you should be talking about all women, including Jewish women as well, and conservative women.
Well, Megan, so
are those allegations true?
Yeah, well, first of all, those allegations are not true. That is not how that meeting happened. And the Women's March...
So the journalist I spoke to was lying?
The people that the journalist spoke to did not tell the truth.
Period.
Period. Full stop.
That's it.
And I think it's important for us to understand and all be very clear in this room that the Women's March unequivocally condemns anti-Semitism, bigotry.
You condemn Farrakhan's remarks about Jewish people.
Yes, and we have repeatedly in statement after statement this year, which are available directly on our website for anyone to read. We condemn any statements of hate, and we've actually been working so hard over the last 2 years to fight this type of hate over and over again, and we're committed to repairing any harm because we understand that the Jewish community is feeling hurt right now. And we want to make sure...
I don't speak for Jewish people, but I think I'm just confused. These remarks are, I mean, it goes on death to Israel over and over again.
We did not make those remarks.
We did not make them.
You can't
But you're associating with a man who does publicly.
What I will say to you is that I don't agree with many of Minister Farrakhan's statements.
Specifically about Jewish people.
As I said, I don't agree with many of Minister Farrakhan's statements.
Do you condemn them?
I don't agree with these statements. At the end of the day...
You won't condemn it.
No. To be very clear, it's not my language. It's not the way that I speak. It is not how I organize. And I think it is very clear over the 20 years of my own personal activism, my own personal track record, who I am, and that I should never be judged through the lens of a man. That is actually not what this women's movement is supposed to be about.
I don't want to be judged through the lens of something that's speaking for all women when you're associating with extreme anti-Semitism and are you comfortable, both of you, being on stage with a Trump supporter, someone who's pro-life, someone who is a very, vociferous...
Yes, we are.
All right, so you're going to have a Trump-supporting woman, conservative pro-life woman on stage with you guys at the next march.
There was absolutely no prerequisite for people coming into the march.
Pro-life women.
We never disinvited.
That is not true.
So,
and I actually have pro-life women in my family who, as a result of the Women's March, have been engaging in what we call courageous conversations with me over the last 2 years that have helped expand all of our understanding. We welcome pro-life women. We welcome conservative women to the Women's March. The Women's March is open to all.
I appreciate you both coming and speaking.
So my last question is, do you understand why people feel that you stepping down might put some air between all of this before a conversation can continue?
I also know of people who don't want me to step down. And so, there's both sides of that. There are people who actually support my leadership, and I am willing to lead until my term at Women's March is up.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming. We'll be right back.
Next, Oprah's starting your 2019 off right on View Your Deal. We partnered with vendors for at least half off her brand new batch of favorite things.
It's our first View Your Deal Oprah edition of 2019, and we partner with vendors for at least half off while supplies last. So let's get shopping with creative director of O Magazine, Adam Glassman.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Hello.
I know our first one.
Yes.
And I brought back Fanny Goldie's magic pants. You're wearing them. They make everyone look longer and leaner. They're incredible.
They're like
they
my
give you
fave.
hold, they give
Yeah.
you stretch, they give you structure.
They're my favorite.
No seams at all. You could dress them up, dress
Yes, you
them down.
can.
But also new is this tailored blouse you're wearing.
So
it's
good,
blousey, it's so good. Not too clingy,
Yes.
not too oversized. The fabric is wrinkle-free.
Yes.
So you could ball it up, pack with it, and you look perfect
It hides a
all
multitude
the
of
time.
sins.
Yes, a multitude of sins.
Yes.
You look incredible in that.
Thank you.
And all of these colors, including the new magenta, which is a hot color.
Love, 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 love.
The prices normally are $108. They go to $118. Today only, they will be $54 to $59.
Excellent.
You're saving 50%.
Excellent.
Okay. These are stylish readers,
I know.
but they are ingenious. They're invented by a friend of ours
very,
and her
very good
sister.
friend, Jenny
They're called
Hutt.
bunny eyes. This is the thing. The magic is in the functionality.
Yes.
You go like this. You're in bed. You're reading and watching TV. You just flip them down like this.
You may want to do that.
You're getting your hair colored. You know, you can't have the temples on the side of
You may
your
wanna do that.
head. You do that.
You may want to talk. You may want to do that.
If you're reading on the side of the bed, you go like this.
Getting your makeup done.
They're
You may want to
really
do that.
ingenious. They are normally $27. Today they're going to be
That's so
$13.50.
good.
They are so good.
So
50%
good.
off. Bunny eyes. So
I
good.
love these.
Okay. Another ingenious thing invented by a woman runner. This is called headlights. These are beanies and headbands that
Yes.
have a built-in light. Yeah, hold this up like this. You press it like
I
that.
know.
You're walking your dog.
Or you're checking on
running.
your chickens.
Yes.
Am I not right?
But you're getting home from the train. It's
Yeah.
dark at night. You need to put this on so you could find your car
Yeah.
keys or the pathway to your door.
Yeah. You're going
And-
into the chicken coop. You're looking in. Right there. So
And she
good.
has next, which is a no-bulk scarf, easy to put on,
Yeah.
just with Velcro, 1, 2, 3. This stuff is ingenious.
So
The
good.
prices normally are $20 to $40. Today they're going to be $10 to $20. You're saving 50%. Headlights,
So good.
really good.
So good.
Okay. These bracelets are as empowering as they are beautiful from Maya J.
Yes.
These are the words that Oprah wants every woman to use to describe themselves.
Oh.
Strong, grateful, fearless, really beautiful. They are brass, they're plated in white gold. You
Oh,
could
I
wear
love
them
this.
separately or all together. Great Valentine's gifts. Great for women of all ages. Totally perfect. The prices normally are $38. Today they're going to be $19. You are saving 50%.
this is great.
Empowered. Aren't they great?
This is a good
Really
gift.
beautiful.
It's a good gift
really
for a
good
daughter,
gift.
sister, friend.
Exactly. These are the best sheets I've ever slept on my entire life. From Cozy Earth. They're made of bamboo. They're softer than cotton. They are
knew
temperature, but this is
that?
the thing. Temperature regulating. So say goodbye to night sweats, hot flashes, allergies. Some couples don't have the same body temperature.
No, we don't.
This equals them out. Totally great. Sheet sets and comforters.
I need this.
Let me tell you something. Good night's sleep is worth the money.
Yes, I'm always so
sleep is
hot at
essential.
night lately.
I know. Okay, the prices normally are from $239 to $659, but depending on the size of sheets, they're going to be $119.50 and up, plus free shipping.
Wow.
Really well worth it. So soft, softer than cotton. I know. Okay. And from Softies, they've been a favorite thing 2 times in a row. There's a reason. This is a marshmallow
I've tried this
lounger.
on.
You tried it on. Once you put this on, you're never going to leave your house. But if you do leave your house, wear them over the magic pants.
Yes.
You can do errands in them. Super soft. They keep you warm from head to toe. Kangaroo pocket, a hood, 3 colors. Normally they're $99. Today they're going to be $49. You're going to save 50% on Softies.
So good.
Yeah.
Our thanks to Adam Glassman. The clock is ticking. You have 24 hours to grab any of these exclusive deals at viewyourdeal.com. And members of our audience are going home with an empowered bracelet from Maya J. and a Headlights beanie and a copy of the new Oprah magazine. Have a great day, everyone. And what should they do, Adam?
Take a little
time
to enjoy the view.
Thank you.